Alrighty, welcome everybody back to another episode of the Ball Knower podcast. I'm your host, as always, David Miller. Joined today, I keep pointing the wrong way. I got to get this down one day. Joined today by my co-host, Andrew Watkins. We got a normal podcast episode coming to you guys. So first of all, Andrew, how are you today?
I'm very, very good, honestly.
That's good.
It's been a good week. School started for me.
Yeah, I start Monday, unfortunately.
Ooh.
Yeah. You're what, 3 days into senior year?
Yeah, it's a little weird.
You're a whole old man now.
Yeah. I'm
It's
gonna
crazy.
be 18 in a couple months. I don't like it. I'm having like a...
It only gets worse. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, I'm trying to believe it.
Dude, I turned 20 in February.
Sheesh.
I'll be able to legally drink in just over a year.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yet, in my 19 years on this planet, I have not yet figured out how to not die every time the seasons change because of my goddamn asthma. Like, I get this feeling right when the seasons change because the air quality changes and there's like more, because I have allergy-induced asthma. So, like, the pollen count goes up and whatnot, and the air changes. So I get this feeling where I can breathe fine. Like, as you can tell, I'm not like short of breath. I can talk perfectly fine. But I get this feeling where I feel like I need to take a really deep breath and my lungs are just like, you're not going to do that. So my brain goes into a slight state of panic where I know I'm breathing fine, but it still wants that deep breath desperately. So I have to drop everything I'm doing and like stand up and walk around and force myself to breathe. And like sitting in hour-long lectures this week, I know is going to be a pain in the ass because I'm going to sit there feeling like I'm having an asthma attack when in reality I'm fine, but I can't just stand up in the middle of the lecture, go, and then just act like nothing happened. Like, it sucks. I hate it so much. And then I've got my prescription where I have it's called Advair, and it's like a godsend because it actually makes my breathing possible. And I have to take it twice a day, and I'm supposed to get it refilled every single month, right? There's 60 like thingies in it, and you take 2 a day, 30 times 2, 60, right? And I have to get it refilled every 3 months. Like, I have to go to the doctor and get it refilled every 3 months, which I shouldn't have to do. And I didn't have to do until recently. And even then, when I go to the doctor, half the time my doctor's like, well, I don't know if we can give you it. And it's like literally the only thing that keeps me from not panicking when I have to breathe. So that's fun. And I've also had to use this a lot, which sucks. So that's where I'm at currently. My lungs do not want me to work. Yeah, I am. And it doesn't help that I'm overweight either. Being a bigger dude makes it 10 times worse. Because, like I said, I'm going to be walking around campus, and then I'm going to have to go sit in a classroom and shut my mouth, and I'm going to be panicking. Because it happened last year. Like, any class I have where I'd walk in, it was dead silent. You could hear, like, a pin drop. I would start to freak out, especially with the masks. Because the masks make it so much worse. Yeah. So I'm just in a constant state of being winded, and it makes me feel like the fat kid, but in reality, it's my asthma. So it's a shitty place to be in. But now that rant's over, I gotta ask you our starting question for every episode. How do you feel about Lunchables?
I personally think they're underrated.
Dub.
But the only specific kinds. My favorite's the double cheese pizza.
Okay, valid.
Go back. I remember specifically, this could have gotten me off of Lunchables, but
okay.
Before a football game my 8th grade year, I ate a Lunchable, like literally 4 hours before. And then during that game, I puked it up in front of every single parent on the sideline. So I'm surprised I don't hate them, but I love them.
They're great.
They're great. Fantastic.
See, my sisters are going back to school, obviously, because that's what everyone's doing right now. And my mom keeps getting them Lunchables, and I just steal one, and it's great. I haven't had Lunchables in forever, and now I'm hooked on the nachos. I can't get enough of them. They're great.
Yeah.
But how's school going so far? Let's start there. You're 3 days in. Do you have any classes you hate already?
Well, college classes are extremely stressful.
They're not that. What college classes do you have?
College English and college algebra. But the main thing that's stressful about them is the fact that the websites aren't working. And I don't know if
Uh,
this is like a universal issue, but like I will sign into it and it'll be like, no, you just don't exist, actually.
well, have you told your teacher?
Yeah, it was a huge issue. Every single person in every single class in it is like, we can't.
Well, then don't be worried about it. If everyone's having the problem, they're not going to penalize you for it.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
If it was a you problem, maybe you could worry. But if everyone's having the issue,
Yeah.
goofball. Yeah, I didn't take college algebra, thankfully. I took college stat because fuck math. I want nothing to do with math. I never have to take another math class again. Do you know how happy that makes me? You know how awesome that is? I never have to deal with math again. But college English was fun. I liked it. Do you have Dr. Brown?
Yeah,
Dr. Brown's a G. She's awesome.
he's my favorite teacher I've
She's
ever
so
had.
cool. She's so cool. She is like, there's something fun about a sarcastic teacher that just doesn't give a shit and bullies people.
Yeah,
And that is
that's her.
exactly what she is.
That
Yeah.
is her tea.
Yeah. Like, you know Grant, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. He was in my class and she thought he was dumber than a box of rocks for like 60% of the year. So half of that class was just her rolling her eyes anytime Grant spoke. It was fun. I loved that class. And I sat next to Grant and we worked on everything together. So she thought, like I said, for like 60% of the year, I was carrying Grant through the class and she used to praise me like some sort of saint. I'm like, dog, he's doing the work. But she was awesome. How's choir so far? 3 days in. Has she killed anyone yet?
Oh, there's a lot of drama that's being discussed.
Of course there's
That
drama.
class is literally just the class where we talk trash on the freshmen. Because the freshmen in Allegheny High School are awful.
They're worse than the freshmen my senior year.
Yeah.
I guess we had Daniel. He
Daniel.
redeemed them.
But like it's literally been getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Like my class was fine. Then
Yeah.
we had Daniel's class, which is like there's a little bit of this like toxic side to it, but then this new freshman class, it's literally like I'm walking the hallways and I'm like my spidey senses are constantly going off. I'm like walking down the hallway and I'm getting like goosebumps and like the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up because I'm always at attention. Because at any point in time, I feel like this like tiny little turd is gonna like run into me and pull out a shank and stab me, and then I'm just gonna be dead. That's a genuine fear I have at Allegheny now.
Well, you know, that's valid. I felt the same way my senior year. I'm not gonna lie to you, especially given the area we live in and the issues we have. I was gonna ask something else. I can't remember what I was gonna say. Oh, has it set in yet that you're like the man, even though you kind of were like, well, no, y'all had Kyle. Has it set in that you're the man now?
Yeah, I guess so. Like I literally driving to my house tonight, I was like, I was a sophomore like yesterday.
Yeah.
What happened to that? But like it is weird. It like feels like any sort of like responsibility that I've seen other people have is now mine. Like that's just a weird feeling.
Yeah.
Like, and we also had the meeting that happens every year with the administration where they're like, "You're the role models," and I'm like, "Oh, that's so cheesy." But then this year it was like, "Geez, there's like I didn't realize there was so much pressure that came with being like the role model of the whole school."
Yeah. And see, you're not going to feel that actual pressure outside of choir and drama. I can tell you that right now. Like they make it out to be that right away, but when you're walking the halls and shit, nobody cares what you do. But then once you're in those walls, it's like, oh, I got to be a person here. And like, I know that's rich coming from me, given my behavior as a senior. But like, you still, and you know, the senior before me who shall not be named, his behavior.
Yeah.
But like, you got to be a man. You got to be the man in the room, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is weird. I don't know if I like it yet.
It'll grow on you. You probably won't get the title of fun uncle like I did, but you're Andrew, man. You're the guy. You were arguably the man your sophomore year. Like,
you were the man. Everybody loved you.
everybody did love me. Dude, I miss choir and drama so much. I really do. That was the last time I felt like I belonged somewhere. That's sad. I didn't mean for that to come off that sad. No, I felt like a genuine sense of like community and camaraderie and whatnot. And now I'm not a part of anything, you know? Like I'm not doing drama or anything in college, which I want to, but I just haven't found the opportunity. Even though someone's been breathing down my neck about getting back into it, and I'm sure you have an idea of who that is. But I love her for it because I need to get back into it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I gotta find the time for it. I gotta find the fucking balls at this point to get back into it. Like back in high school, it was just like, yeah, fuck it. What's the worst that's gonna happen? I'm gonna get an ensemble because we're in high. You know, they're not gonna cut me from the show. But now it's like, hold up, I'm competing against Lord knows how many people at a college.
Yeah.
Who's to say I'm guaranteed? And you know, it's not the same thing where there's like two men either. Like there's a lot. Yeah. There's actual comp now. I can't just cut my way in.
Oh my God.
There's legit comp.
Yeah.
I ranked up too hard, and now I'm scared to play online. Like, do you remember? I'm sure you do remember your sophomore year. Or it would have been your freshman year when Whit was gonna let the two homeschool kids into the show. No. I don't want to say their last name for like privacy reasons, but you know who the twins. I think they're twins. Do you know who I'm talking? Do you not remember this?
No.
She had what's the
Piano
Man, his kids.
Oh, got it.
You remember?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't want to say their names for like privacy reasons and whatnot, even though you blurted out the name of your high school like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, when I said it, I was like, why
doesn't matter. Fucking 12 people watch this. But I remember thinking when that happened, because remember I went out for the lead and not the part I ended up getting. Yeah. I was like, fuck. Once the two of them walked in, because they're fucking good. And like, there's that now times like 50. And she's just like, oh, you'll be fine. You should try out. You'll get it. Like, no, I won't. I'm not guaranteed a spot. I'm not you. I don't have your ability. I'm not gifted like you are. I gotta work. And then to do like community theater and whatnot, I'm to the point where I look too old, and I pretty much am too old to do anything other than like a dad. It feels like, even though I'm not, it just feels like I am. And
you'll be like
dude, if I shaved my beard, I'd look like I'm 12.
Exactly.
But I'm not gonna lie, I'm considering it. Okay. Just to see what it would look like with the long hair. High key considering it. I know you did it, but you can pull it off better than I can. Because you don't have the baby face I do.
Well, you don't know that.
I do know that. I have seen you without a beard. You don't have the baby face I have. I'm not like trying to tear myself down, but it's true. I have a fucking baby face. I can't pull off. Like, do you remember my last day of senior year? The pictures that got taken and how goofy I look without a beard? Like, I'm not gonna lie, those pictures being up on my Instagram are part of the reason why my Instagram's private. Those pictures are goofy. I love them because I don't get pictures with people very often, and the people I got pictures with mean a lot to me. But like, I look goofy because like I was trying my best not to cry, and also I can't smile for shit in pictures, so I just looked goofy. Like the picture of me and you, for example, the day before the last day, the dress-up day, that was goofy. I look so goofy in that picture. Oh man. But yeah, enjoy your last year of high school while you can, because you will be sad when it's over. Even though people don't want to believe it, you will be. I promise.
I know. I've been well aware for the past 5 years. So
I know you have, because you're like me. You're sentimental and shit.
Yeah.
But like, I was talking to Abby the other day, and she was like, no, I won't. Because I swiped up on her story. She was like excited about it being senior year. And I was like, enjoy it while you can, because you're going to miss it. And she was like, no, I won't. I was like, you're probably right, but like, just let me be the old wise man. That's my role now. That's what I've been downgraded to. Hold up, I gotta pull up my college schedule because I keep forgetting what classes I actually have. I
Oh,
know I have contemporary world history, which is fun. I like world history. That's cool. I was supposed to take it my freshman year, but I had to drop out because I had a professor that I could not understand him when he spoke, which I felt so bad about. Have I ever told you this story? Okay, so I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he came over here from Africa, right? And he's been teaching at Frostburg for a long time now, so it's not like it was a new thing. But with the masks, and he's a very soft-spoken man, I shit you not, I sat in his class for an hour on the first day, and the only thing I got out of his entire lecture of him telling us what was going to happen in the class was something along the lines of, I completely understand if you want to drop this class. I get that my accent is thick. There are no hard feelings if you drop this class, yet I still feel really bad about it.
oh my God.
Yeah, like I mean, props to him for being self-aware of it. That's awesome. You know, like I guess he's dealt with it because he's been teaching there for a while. But I mean it sincerely. I could not understand a lick of what that man said. Because you got to think, he's got his mouth covered like this, completely muffled, and he's very soft-spoken, and he doesn't enunciate well.
Oh God.
So it was just a recipe for not understanding. And I can't sit in a class where I can understand the professor. Like I'm smart enough, I can get shit done, but I still need that, that in-person Like I can't do online classes. I suck in online classes. I almost failed my only online class. But that professor was also a dick and didn't help me. So I have that. I have two different classes that relate to my mass communications major, and then I have an IDIS course which you have to take within your first 2 years, and it's a bunch of different topics, and I forget what the point of it is, but mine is something about like looking at modern culture and like modern pop culture is the word I was looking for. So like movies and TV, and relating it back to like classic literature, which I think is cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Like that sounds awesome. So that'll be fun. And then I have my graphic design class, and I have a total of 5 classes, but there are going to be 2 days a week on Tuesdays. I have to stay for 2 classes longer than you have to stay. You would have to stay for 7.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awful. That's
Yeah.
so...
And they're not even long classes. It's just the way they're spaced out. So like, actually, no, I guess I don't have to be there longer because I get there later. But I'm still, it might be like an hour shorter. It's just the way it's spaced out, and I can't drive right now. So it's like I get there and I have to sit until I have to leave, which kind of sucks. But I suppose once I get my license, it'll be better. I don't think I've ever said that on here before. I cannot drive. That's a thing. You can drive before me. I just realized that.
Yeah. How you've said that before?
Have I said it on here before? Because I know I've told you that before, but have I said it on here?
No.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
So.
Yeah. Okay, that adds up. Well, we can move on from there. Talk about this Lakers trade. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What was the deal?
I don't really know the actual specifics.
I know the big part of it was Patrick Beverly for THT, but like, was there anything else involved?
It was just Stanley Johnson as well as Taylor.
Oh, Stanley Johnson as well. Okay. So what do you think? Does this make the Lakers the contenders they're meant to be? Does this push the needle for them?
No, I think not at all, actually. Really, it's just funny to see that they trade away Taylor Horton-Tucker for Patrick Beverly now that they are like willing to trade him, because they weren't willing to trade him for Kyle Lowry, who is
right.
objectively a better player than Patrick Beverly. But now they're just willing to trade him for, and he's not older, but he's like the same age, basically, worse. Worse attitude.
I was gonna say louder, cockier, more annoying, less tolerable, worse person probably.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember when posted a screenshot to Twitter of his text with his daughter, and his daughter got a fucking tech, and he was congratulating her.
Yes.
She was like 8.
Yeah.
Like that's insane behavior. And it's so funny that he's on the same team as Russ now too. Like
Yeah.
how the fuck is that gonna work?
It's not. It's just not gonna work.
I mean, it's not. You're right. Do you think they trade Russ?
I think they trade everybody. They should just trade everyone.
They should just blow it up.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, LaFraud signed a 2-year extension, so they're kind of stuck. Because you can't rebuild around the GM. He won't let you. Dude, I love the Le memes, by the way.
Yeah.
Just like off topic, all the LeBron names are so good.
Yeah.
They're so good. Like people try to force it with Jordan. Like you have LaFraud and Jorfraud. That's lame. But LaFraud fits well. LaMickey, LaBozo is one of my favorites. LaBitch. I've been calling him LaBitch for years. I was a trendsetter. But yeah, they got to do something. That team is in shambles.
Yeah. I think the first move is trading away Russ.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Because, you are literally nothing without LeBron. Like, Anthony Data Davis.
Anthony Data Davis.
He might be good, and people are still saying he's probably the best power forward in the league, which is not my opinion at all.
Isn't Giannis listed as a power forward?
Yeah. But people are like having debates between him and Giannis about who they would take, and I'm absolutely.
What fucking debate is there to have?
I don't know. I really don't know, but I've seen it on Twitter and I've seen it on TikTok.
Twitter's also a cesspool of nonsense, so I guess that adds up.
Yeah. But, like, I guess you give Anthony Davis, like, half a year, give him to the trade deadline before you sell him.
Yeah.
But that's really it. So
what do you...
new assets.
What could they even get out of AD at this point?
I don't even know.
Because I don't think... Like, he's a great ball player, but I can't imagine the value's high.
Yeah.
And, like, he's a team that... I don't know, unless there's some contender out there that's really desperate for floor help, somebody that's really hot. But even then, the Lakers think they're contenders. So it's not like they're going to be willing to sell them off for draft picks. They're going to want a viable player in return, and if you're trading them to a contender, that's not going to work. And you're not going to get another team like the Lakers that's willing to sell off all their young assets when they have nothing else to go off of. So they're kind of in purgatory with them.
Yeah.
I love that LeBron has dismantled that team. Like, he has really put them in a shitty situation. Because who's their coach now?
I have no idea.
I don't want to say a nobody because it's going to be like a former player and I'm going to look like a dumbass. But it's nobody like notable, I don't think.
Oh my God. Darvin Ham.
He's a former ball player.
Yeah.
He played a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know. That team's just in shambles. It is an absolute shambles. The downfall of the Lakers. Well, I guess the downfall already happened. We're just in the aftermath of them still trying to piece it together. And they got LeBron for another 2 years. Until Bronny gets drafted and LeBron just pieces out to wherever it is Bronny goes, which I know it's not going to happen, but I'm still holding out hope that whoever drafts Bronny is going to tell LeBron he can't come play for them. That would be the funniest thing ever.
After all that.
That would be beyond hysterical. Like, he gets drafted, let's say the Hornets, right? I don't think the Hornets are going to be that bad by then, but we'll just make it more realistic. Let's say the Thunder. He gets drafted by the Thunder. They're like, well, we got Lou Dort, so sorry, Bron. So funny. It wouldn't happen. I know that's absolutely ridiculous to say, but it would be so funny. Oh, and speaking of the Thunder, I just remembered Chet Holmgren has like a wrist break injury. He's out.
That's awful. That's
such
bad news.
And it happened during he was playing at a rec game, right?
Yeah.
It's awful.
The types of games that all the NBA players are like preaching to play in for this whole offseason. That's like huge for Chet in terms of development, and it's huge for whatever the types of games that they were playing were, because like they were just starting to pick up momentum. Like all these huge stars were
Yeah, I was
getting.
going to say LeBron started. It's the Drew League, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yes, it is a Drew League.
Yeah, and LeBron came to it for the first time in like forever, and now Chet's got a Liz Frank, and nobody, like you were going to say, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but nobody's going to want to play there now.
Exactly.
Like if that's happening, it's the same shit as like somebody getting hurt in the preseason for the NFL. You know, it's goofy. It's the same reason guys don't want to do the dunk contest anymore, or I guess they don't sit out the All-Star game, but like if they had the opportunity to, I'm sure a lot of guys would. They talk about it all the time that they'd like to, but the NBA fines you if you sit out, I think. But that's why Bron and them don't go to the dunk contest, because they're worried about landing on their ankle wrong and fucking themselves up over something pretty much meaningless. And that's why we have bums like oh god, who was the guy from the Pacers? It was Glenn Robinson the third.
Yeah, probably.
I think he did a dunk contest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we have guys like Glenn Robinson the third and Hamidou Diallo, however you say his name. You have guys like that in the dunk contest over the superstars like Levine or LeBron or Giannis, whoever you want to name.
Yeah.
That really does suck. And then did you see what ESPN did the day of?
No.
They put out edit, and it's I don't know how to say his name. I think it's Victor Demboya, maybe? Something like that. He's supposed to be like the number one recruit, right? He's going to be the number one pick coming up. They photoshopped him into a Thunder jersey, and that was their response to Chet getting hurt. Yeah, it was some sick shit.
What?
It was one of the most tone-deaf posts I've ever seen. I got to make sure I got that kid's name right. I think it's Victor Demboya. That sounds right.
We're talking about Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, Wembanyama. That's right. That's right. I was thinking of kid from the Pacers, Sekou Demboya. That's who I was thinking of. Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
Okay, I got him confused. Listen, I say it all the time. I'm a casual. Some of these role players and up and comers that I haven't learned about yet, I'm gonna get them mixed up. It happens. I'm sorry. I know Bronny because LeBron won't shut the fuck up about him, and neither will Skip Bayless or anyone else in the media. But other than that, these kids, I mean, I might see their name on Twitter here or there, but I don't know them yet. I'm focusing on the NFL draft. I don't give a shit about the NBA draft until it happens. But yeah, it's really unfortunate for Chet, especially after all the shit he talked. You know, he doesn't get to come in and back it up, which is really, really unfortunate for him. But oh well, hopefully he comes back stronger and all that good stuff. But you're right, like you were gonna say, or like you did say, it is gonna hurt his development and whatnot. And I'm really curious to see how that's gonna pan out. And Liz Frank, that's like an ankle foot injury thing. So I guess if you want to pull like a silver lining out of this, at least his injury wasn't related to his frame. It was like a freak thing, so the haters weren't correct. You know, they weren't right about him being too scrawny, which I honestly still have my doubts about. I still think the guy needs to put on weight because he looks like, you know, rookie Giannis out there, the way he's built. And we all saw what Giannis became when he hit the fucking gym. And I think we talked about it before the draft, too. The way he plays, it's not like he's a shooter or anything. He's playing down low, and playing like that, you're going to get bodied.
Yeah.
So it's not like he can be Kevin Durant and stay scrawny. He's got to do something. He's got to put on weight. And maybe he'll do that. Maybe that's going to be his offseason goal. Once his ankle's good or his foot, I forget exactly where it's at, but that area, once it's good, hopefully he'll be ready to hit the gym and put on some weights, put on some muscle. But moving on from the NBA, we got to talk about Matt Araiza. I still don't know how to say his name, but at this point, I don't give a shit. He got cut today, thankfully. But you said you don't know the full story, right? You just know what I told you very briefly before we were recording. So back in October, Araiza, who was 21 at the time, was at a party. And there was this 17-year-old girl who, by California law, is not legal. She is under the age of consent. I think they have like the Romeo and Juliet law or whatever, but she was drunk. So regardless, she cannot consent. If she's like, she was for lack of better words, like shit-faced, plastered. She was very, very intoxicated. So she cannot consent. There is no possible way this girl can consent. Araiza walked up to her, gave her a drink that she believes had something in it, and then asked her to go over to the side of the house and do stuff with him, which she complied. But again, she's intoxicated out of her mind. She cannot consent. Even if she did in the moment, legally speaking, technically speaking, she cannot consent. When you're inebriated like that, your brain does not process properly. So they go over, they do stuff, and then she starts to like fade in and out of consciousness to where Araiza picks her up, takes her in a bedroom where at least two people were waiting, two men that were identified as two of his teammates. A couple reports have said 5 different people, but we know for a fact there were 3. Took her in there, threw her on the bed. They did bad things, obviously. And she said while she was blacking in and out, there was a point where she saw a flash that looked like it would have been from a phone, so she believed she was being recorded through the whole thing. And then eventually, after an hour and a half of this going on, she was able to get up and walk out of the bedroom, and patrons at the party described her as being bloody from between her legs and her nose, belly button, and somewhere else. She had 3 different piercings that were ripped out. Not taken out, not missing, ripped out, like she was bleeding from those areas as well. And she went to the police station the next day, which, you know, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what everyone bitches about, right? In these instances, oh, she waited. She went the next day, like she wants everybody to. And while she was at the police station, the detectives there had her call Araiza to monitor the call and see if he would admit to anything. So when he called her, he admitted that something happened between them, right? Some sort of intercourse, and that she should get herself checked because he exposed her to chlamydia. And then when the detectives tried to get her to like double down on it and be like, so can you confirm that we had sex last night? And then he was like, this is Matt Araiza. I don't remember anything that happened at the party, and hung up. So they got a partial confession. Like, he admitted that something happened between the two of them. But once the detectives tried too hard to push, he realized what was going on. So fast forward to, I think would have been the 25th, 25th lawsuit gets filed. That's when everything goes public. So you got to realize from October, like mid-October, I don't remember the exact date, to August 24th, radio silence. This girl filed a police report, got a R-word kit test, where they like swab you for DNA. She did all that. Silence. This lawsuit comes out. She finally was like, fuck it. The police aren't doing enough for me. I'm getting a lawyer. Goes public. Everyone loses their shit. LA Times puts out an article, catches everybody off guard. The kicker here is this girl, like I said, next day went to the police and reported it like she's supposed to. And they did nothing. Her and her father, who were both spoken to for the article. Now, she's anonymous because she was a minor at the time. Her name's not public, but they were spoken to, and they both said they felt like the police did them dirty. They felt like the police didn't do their job. And after like New Year's, they just kind of forgot about it and let it go. And there was actually a point where San Diego State University, the college that Araiza attended, was made aware of it and was planning on investigating it. And the San Diego Police Department was like, no, you can't do that. That'll interfere with our investigation. And a player from San Diego State was actually interviewed as well. He's also anonymous. And he stated that 99% of the team was aware of what happened, but they weren't allowed to speak about it. Like, if they tried to talk about it, they tried to tell any of the coaches, they just brushed it off. So that's where we're at right now. Araiza got cut today, and the Bills fucked up because they did the right thing, right? Like, we all know they didn't do it out of the kindness of their hearts. They did it because PR, right? It's a punter. You're not going to risk it. This isn't like Deshaun Watson, franchise quarterback. It's your fucking punter you spent a 6th-round pick on. You're going to cut your losses. But when they delivered their press conference afterwards, they said something to the effect of, this is what's best for Matt. We think he needs to focus on clearing his name and not football, and things like that. Now, I understand they can't come out and call him a rapist or anything because that's like slander and defamation of character, and you can get sued over that. But they still said the wrong shit. And on top of that, reports are saying that the Bills knew about this a month ago It did nothing. Now, the Bills denied this, obviously. They're trying to say that they just found out within the past few days. But it's kind of he said, she said with that. And I'm leaning towards believing the report that they knew because it's the NFL and we know they don't give a shit about victims. So that's where we're at with the whole situation right now. It's absolutely disgusting.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's genuinely horrific.
Mm-hmm.
That's, oh my God. That's a lot. That is a lot.
I know. It's a lot. It's bad.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I saw a TikTok today, this girl talking about the situation, and she saw the victim at the party. They happened to be at the same party. She didn't know her personally, but like they wore the same costume or something because it was a costume party. So they spoke briefly. And she said she was one of the people that saw her walk out of the room and that she wants her, like she was talking about how she doesn't feel safe on campus. And she knows that, like I said, two of the other confirmed assaultants or two of the other people that were identified, right? Because I can't technically say confirmed because it's still allegations, but two of the other people the girl was able to identify are still at her school. Like they are now freshmen. They would have been that girl's age. And that girl actually had to finish her senior year online because she was afraid to leave and afraid to go to school and afraid to deal with everything. But, people are still defending them and innocent until proven guilty and all that good shit. Which is like, yeah, in the court of law, innocent until proven guilty. But the court of public opinion's a whole different fucking ballgame. Court of public opinion, the only people you have to convince are the people listening. You don't have to convince a jury. You don't have to convict anybody. You just got to sway the people's minds. And I can tell you right now, in the court of public opinion, for about 90% of people, motherfucker's guilty. I'm not saying this is a flex, but I tweeted something out yesterday about like Matt Araiza at the age of 21 exposed this girl who was 17 at the time to chlamydia or something, right? And it's gotten a lot of attention. It has like 3,000 likes or something stupid, which I'm bringing that up because that obviously means it's making its rounds to a lot of different people. And a lot of those people are bad people. And I just want to say, I hope 90% of the people on Twitter never have a daughter to care for or anything of that sort because they are terrible. The amount of times I've heard this girl called the S word, the amount of times I've heard people say she wanted it was her fault, disgusts me. I cannot even begin to comprehend that train of thought. There's a lot of people trying to justify it, saying, well, she was a senior in high school. She should have known better. She was intoxicated. Her brain was not functioning properly. That's how the whole thing works. At best, Matt Araiza committed statutory R word. At best. And I'm saying R word because I've been told to be a lot more careful with the YouTube guidelines. Like I can say fuck, but I can't say the R word. So it's just such a disgusting and repulsive situation. And the timing is so shitty too, because it's coming off the heels of the Watson shit. And we know damn well the NFL, technically speaking, can't do anything to him because it happened outside of, before he got to the NFL. But on the bright side, he's a punter and he's got a lot of bad press, so nobody's going to sign him. So, like, small win, but it sucks to know that these teams aren't ignoring him because he's sick. It's because they don't want the publicity for their punter.
Yeah. It's genuinely vile.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have no words.
Yeah.
Stuff like that happens, other than like extreme disappointment in just like the world in general.
Yeah.
It's awful, especially those people that are blaming the girl for it. Like those are my least favorite types of people.
At the end of the day, whether or not you think the guy's guilty or not, if you blame the victim in an instance of SA or R word, you're a shitty fucking human. You are a shitty, shitty human. Never in a million years will a situation like that be the fault of the victim? Whether it be a man, woman, non-binary, a child, whoever. It's never their fault. Never. And if you have ever uttered the word "she wanted it" or "she had it coming," I I have no words. I mean, I really hope that those people are never given the opportunity to raise a daughter, because that is a shitty, shitty situation to put a young girl in. And that's how fucked up our society is, because there's people that legitimately think like that. Because young girls dress in more, what's the right way to put it? Confident clothing. You know, it's not like the 1500s anymore where you can't show your ankles, right? People look at that and think, well, they're just asking for it. Like, that's so fucking gross.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
I can't even imagine that.
I can't either. I cannot fathom that thought going through your mind. I really can't. It's horrible. And then on the other side of things, you have the assholes that look at anyone like you or I that take pity upon these people and think we're doing it because we're like trying to get some, for lack of better words. That's probably how they'd put it.
Yeah.
And that's it's not quite as bad. I'm not going to say it's as bad, but it's still pretty fucked up.
It's just...
Yeah. It's really unfortunate. And I think Andrew's lack or loss for words here kind of speaks volumes. Even the man who usually is of few words somehow is of even fewer words talking about this situation.
Yeah, it literally just makes my blood boil.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't find the words to describe.
There aren't any. I'm bullshitting my way through this. There really are no words to describe how fucked up people are, how fucked up the situation is, how fucked up our society is for how we treat these women. There's a reason they're afraid to come forward and they wait. You know, we talked about it constantly with the Watson thing. We talked about it with Celia. There's a reason they are afraid to come forward. It's because of how the public reacts. Because the public has never reacted well. They just don't. Statistically speaking, right? It is far more likely that somebody did something horrible than for a situation to be a false accusation, right? Like, yeah, there have been situations like the Duke lacrosse team or Emmett Till where they were wrongly accused. But that's like one in 1,000, 1 in a million even. It's just not a high percentage. And it just baffles me. Like, I think about it. I've got 2 little sisters. I've got my mom. I've got cousins I'm super close with, aunts, my grandparents, my grandmas. And I just can't fathom someone having, women that impact their life. And that's not even including like my close friends, like my best friend in the world is a girl. Like, I cannot fathom people having women in their lives and still thinking like that or still being like that. Because it's a very small chance that every single man that thinks that way doesn't have a strong female role model in their life, right? There's somebody there. There's somebody they care about. And, God forbid if something were to happen to that person, I'm sure they would be singing a different tune, but it's just disgusting. It is fucking repulsive. And I think we should move on from this now.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like it's just bad. Like you said, there's really no words to describe what's going on here, and I feel like going over the situation is kind of good enough. But the unfortunate thing is I don't have anything else planned to jump to a different topic.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to outside of school? What else is going on in your life?
Well, soccer is going on.
Okay.
We went to the state semis last year, and I think we're gonna make a similar run this year.
I was at that game. I went to that game.
Yes.
Those are the only soccer games I enjoyed. The ones that I watched, the Allegheny games, those are the only soccer games I've ever enjoyed.
Yeah.
Because soccer is boring, but then you see this And you see this guy with his hair up in a man bun running around with it flopping around. You're like, okay,
Maybe it's good.
maybe just a little bit.
Speaking of soccer, today in the Premier League, there's a record-setting win. It was 9-0. Liverpool beat Bournemouth.
Wow.
Not that you know that.
A lot of balls getting kicked. That's all I know. Ball going to net. Dub. Have I ever told you the story of when I tried to play soccer as a youngin'?
Oh God.
So I was like 8, right? And my parents put me in it because I was overweight and they wanted me to lose weight. That's why they tried to get me to play soccer. And the first day of practice, I show up, and the coach is like, you know, giving everybody a speech and shit. I almost dropped my phone. Telling everybody what's going to go down. And while that's happening about 5 feet away from me, I was sitting in the corner and I kicked the ball into the net, and I'd go grab the ball and then I'd kick it into the net again. And every time I kicked it into the net, I'd look at the coach and say, "Coach, I made a goal." He's like, "Yeah, buddy, good job." And then he'd go back to talking, and I interrupted him like 8 times. And eventually, he was like, "You want to come join us?" I was like, "Yeah," because that was the first, like, I must have been younger than 8. I had to have been younger than 8 because I don't think I had been in school yet. I was definitely younger than 8 because that was my first time with like authority outside of my parents.
Yeah.
And it I don't know. That's like a core memory that I have because it was so dumb. And I know that coach probably thought I had something wrong with me. And I don't think I lasted very long in soccer. I think I went to like 3 practices. And I was like, I'm good, Chief.
You were one of those 3 practice kids?
I was for soccer.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Fuck soccer.
It seems like every single person has played soccer when they were less than 10 years old.
Yeah. And I hated it.
You go to somebody's house and on their fridge, there's probably a picture of them in like a blue and red jersey.
Yeah. It's one of the basic primary colors. It's some very basic, yeah. See, I didn't have that. There were baseball pictures of me laying around. T-ball and baseball. I played both. I played T-ball for the Pirates, straight rip-off of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I played baseball for the Yankees, straight rip-off of the New York Yankees. And there's pictures and like magnets of me and that stuff. But I was bad at it. But I had a strong arm, so the coaches told me I could play catcher, which was just a ploy to get me out of the field because I couldn't cover anything. The coach was like, "We're not allowed to have pitchers. The coaches have to pitch, but you have a really strong arm, so we're going to play you at catcher so you can throw us the ball back." And I always got the ball back to him. But in hindsight, I realized it was because they didn't want my little fat ass running around in the field trying to chase after fly balls, if they even got that far back. And then when I played for the Yankees, which I would have been in the 1st or 2nd grade, I actually played in the outfield. And I would sit by the fence, and my dad would sit behind me. And my dad had I used to be obsessed with orange Tic Tacs, so he'd have Tic Tacs. And I wouldn't use them normal. I would eat them. I would put them in my mouth and eat them straight up like candy. So I'd keep asking him for Tic Tacs, and eventually my dad would be like, "Okay, you do something, you can have more Tic Tacs. Focus on the goddamn game." He wouldn't laugh at me, but he'd be like, "Focus on the game, and then you can have more Tic Tacs." And I wouldn't do anything. And I'd be like, "Dad, I'm getting ready to go in. I'm getting ready to go in the dugout. Can I have more Tic Tacs?" And he wouldn't give me the Tic Tacs because I didn't do anything. It was the whole thing. I hated baseball. I really did. Football was so much more fun.
Yeah, I agree with that. I played baseball from when I was in like 1st grade till when I was in like 8th grade, I think. I maybe was the best coach pitch player of all time. I played for the Dodgers, rip off of the Dodgers.
Oh, aren't you cool, Mr. Dodger Man?
I hit 7 inside the park home runs in coach pitch.
I don't think I had a hit. I don't think I did. Listen, I'm the least coordinated individual there is on this planet. I have no coordination, which is why I failed at football too.
Makes sense, yeah.
Also because I got scared.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I got to a point where like I was playing in the 8th grade, so I was old enough to realize like head injuries were a thing. And Ryan Baker stepped on my head once, and I felt like I had a concussion. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna throw myself around out there." So I just started going like, every time I had to block, and it didn't
Well,
end well.
Ryan Baker's a big dude. I'm surprised
That
you
Ryan Baker was in the 8th grade pushing 300 pounds. Like
yeah.
he's a massive human,
Yeah.
and he's quick. Have you ever watched him run?
Yeah, he ran like a 4.5 40 or something. He's a
I
quick
don't think he ran
dude.
that fast. Let's
That's
let's let's
so
not push
quick.
it.
That's so quick. But never mind.
4.5 40. That's like NFL receiver speed.
He ran a quick 40. It was like
He
sub
probably
five.
ran like a sub 5, which as an offensive lineman in high school would be nuts.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
big offensive lineman in high school.
Huge. Like he wasn't just big; he was tall too,
Like,
or
he was
is
like
tall.
like 6'4" or
Yeah,
six
he's massive.
four. Yeah.
So that practice, they were trying out a heavy formation where it was pretty much like, in hindsight, I would have loved it because we ran the ball with the fullback every play. And the idea was we put our 3 heaviest linemen on the right side. And I was the only kid big enough that didn't start that could take that type of hit because all of our other linemen were tiny. So our defensive line coach, who not a great dude, but was fucking hysterical at the time, he walked over to me. He's like, "All right, Miller, you're gonna go in there. You're gonna take an ass kicking." And I was like, "Do I have to?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna get in there. It's gonna help you." And I was like, "Okay, coach." So they put this like little orange cap on me so they could identify me, and they would pop me. Literally, I would get. It was Baker, Jeremiah Leatherman, and Isaiah, all at the same time, just boom, 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 just every single play. And after like 10 hits, I was starting to get up slow. And Baker, I mean, he didn't do it on purpose, but he like stumbled back because he was messing around with somebody, and he stepped on my head. And I was laying like this on the ground. And he stepped on my head like this, and I got up and I was like, "Coach, I don't want to do this no more." He was like, "You did good, Miller. You did good. Go get your inhaler." And he pulled me up. And he pulled me up. And he pulled in a kid that was like half my size and sent him out there. And I was like, "Oh no, I just sent him to die. He's done. He's finished."
Go get your inhaler. Oh my
What?
god.
I mean, yeah, they knew I was asthmatic because like I used to get out of running all the time because of my inhaler, and they just let me. I guess because they knew I didn't give a shit. Hold on one second. I had to. One of my friends texted me and asked me if Cole Kmet was a good fantasy football option, which he is. So if you're playing fantasy football, draft Cole Kmet. It's gonna be great. But yeah, football in the 8th grade was a fucking trip. It was fun, but I'm so glad I quit when I did.
I didn't have fun. I had no fun.
You didn't have fun. You were the fucking quarterback.
I don't know if I've told this on this to you or to the.
You probably haven't. We haven't talked much about your football career. I just knew you were the quarterback and you got to run a lot.
I got to run a lot. It's not.
You were a little Lamar out there.
It was not because they were designing the plays around me running. I'll tell you that. Going into the year, I wanted to play wide receiver, and I didn't know anything about football, like literally,
Fair.
like, not at all. So
Fair.
they threw me in at quarterback because they didn't have a quarterback, which is like
Yes, because let's take the kid that knows nothing about the game and put him at the hardest position.
yeah, like you have to do so
Genius.
much as a quarterback, and I'm like, okay, I can do that, I guess. Because going into it, my mom was like, "You're gonna say yes to anything these coaches tell you to do. Okay, you are the new kid. You have to make an impression on these coaches." So the coach, yes, mom, I did. Anyways, the coach comes up to me one day and says, "Do you want to play quarterback?" And I said, "Sure." And then that was the worst one word sentence I've ever said in my entire life. Because then I proceeded to get sacked maybe 8 times a game, maybe
Justin
more.
Fields numbers. Respect it.
More than that, probably. We played like 9 games, I think. I got sacked 70 plus times. Not even kidding. practices were awful. I remember crying before practices. I would be lacing
They
my
didn't let you
shoes.
get hit at practice, did they?
They did. No,
They
they didn't.
did? I was gonna say they better not let you get hit at practice. That's malpractice.
Yeah. But like I would go to practice, and I would like fake injuries. I would say that I lost my mouthpiece, so I couldn't practice. One practice, I couldn't find my mouthpiece, so I said, "Oh no, I twisted my ankle. I can't play." Um, Running was awful. I didn't know that the cadence was like a cadence. I was that
Oh
bad.
no.
So I would say that my rhythm would be complete. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. Probably the team going 0-9 was my fault. Not gonna lie.
I mean, probably.
But-
For what you're describing, probably.
But anytime I snap the ball, it'd be like a situation where it's like a Madden animation when you snap it and like the defensive tackle will just zone
Insta
through.
sheds.
Yeah, exactly.
Real
And I
life
would like
insta sheds.
I would go and hand the ball off and I would get hit from behind and I would just end up on the ground. I remember playing probably the best team in the area. I literally got spun on my head like a top. I got hit so hard that I was on my head and my feet were in the air and I was spinning around. Then they helped me up. I was like Andrew Luck. I was like, good hit. Thank you. I said that so many times.
Oh my god.
It's a good hit. Like maybe not try so hard next time.
Can you set me down next time? I'm a little sore. As you can tell, my line is dog shit. I need the help. Can y'all count like 6 Mississippi next time, please?
Please. Oh my god. We threw 3 passes. We called 3 passing plays the whole season.
Dumb.
Which is a little ridiculous because honestly,
No, that's high for a middle school.
I know. I got a good arm though. In preseason, I literally best throw my life.
Preseason?
Yeah, there was a preseason tournament. I did.
Oh, we had that too. We did have the tournament.
I was on the run. I did a little fake handoff to my left. I was running down the sideline on the run, launched it into the pocket of a guy. He dropped it, of course. It's middle school.
My man had a Kyler Murray highlight, and it got dropped. No, that's textbook Lamar. Lamar's receivers can't catch.
My friend at the time, who was the center, he said, "Dude, this is so big for us. We're going to be a passing offense." And then we ran 3 passing plays. I threw an interception. One was like a 4-yard completion, and then the other passing play got blown up, and I ran for a touchdown. I remember that was the game that I threw up in, by the way. I threw up in the first half. I threw up at halftime, and then I scored, and then the game ended, and I threw up again.
Nice.
And then, oh my god! And then later, like in literally chorus, I saw the linebacker for the team that we played against, and he said that I was a dog, and I was like,
"No,
you
are incorrect.
You are completely wrong."
Oh my! See, I didn't get any of the fun stories when I played football because I was in the fucking line. I have one good story. I don't know if I've told it on. Have I told my fumble story on here?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I've told you it, haven't I? Because I tell the story all the time because it's the one highlight I had from middle school football, and I treasure it with all my heart. So basically, that same offensive line, or that same line coach, his name was Tommy. We're on the sideline. There was a point in the season where I was like the 6th man of the D line, basically. That didn't last. That lasted like 3 games. So he runs over to me on the sideline. He goes, "Miller, you're going to go in there. You're going to fire out that ball like you've never fucking fired off the ball before." And I was like, okay. So I go in there, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be quick. I'm going to be fast. And I had my, like, Lightning McQueen moment at the beginning of cars. I was like, speed. I am speed. So I fire off the ball as quick as I can, and I only got through because the guard in front of me was pulling. If he would have been playing straight-up protection, I wouldn't have gone anywhere. But the guy in front of me pulls, so I fire off, and I'm running full speed. And I go to tackle the quarterback, he hands the ball off. I go to tackle the running back, he hands the ball off. So in the middle of the second handoff on a reverse, I just go, whoom, and I smack the ball out of the guy's hand, and I fall on top of it and curl up on it like a baby. Like I was literally in the fetal position holding this football. And I get up, and I'm holding the football, and the sideline's going crazy because it's all my buddies. And I did a thing And it was real cool too, by the way. I need to set the tone. It was like we were playing at a high school stadium at night, so the big lights were on. And, it felt like Friday Night Lights, which I never actually got to experience because it was like 6 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon. And I go over to the sideline, still holding the ball, by the way. And my offensive coordinator is kind of a prick. Walks up and he goes, "Hey, you got to give the football back." Well, I'm over here trying to celebrate, so I give the ball back to the ref. And the D-line coach comes over. He's like, "I told you you could fucking do it." And he started, like, my D-line coach did not give a shit. He cursed at us all the time. He's like, "I told you you could fucking do it, Miller. That's what I want to fucking see." Didn't get back in the rest of the game. Like, he hyped me up like that. I didn't get back in. And we smoked them too. Like, we were up by like 4 touchdowns. They just didn't put me back in.
Oh, man.
And I'm like 90% sure that I overheard him and another one of my coaches talking when I got back on the sideline. Like, they had made a bet on the play. Because I would assume, because like I said, Tommy was just kind of a wild individual. So I could absolutely see a world where he walked back over and he was like, "Hey, $10 if Miller does something." And the other coach was like, "You're on." Because the other coaches didn't like me. None of the other, that's not true. Our defensive coordinator liked me, but our offensive coordinator didn't like me. Our head coach didn't like me. And he was like our assistant coach or something. He didn't like me either. And in fact, the assistant coach, I got a really good story about him. So we were in practice and somebody had already pissed him off. He was in a terrible mood. He was running the practice because our coach wasn't there. And not Ryan Baker, but Ryan O'Neal, how he is him. And he was the tight end. And I was lined up opposite him, which, by the way, that would have made me an edge rusher in this situation, which should never happen. I am a D tackle all the way build-wise. I don't have the mentality or the ability of one, but I'm a big kid. I can't come off the edge. So Ryan lines up in front of me, and he was doing something like he was making calls to the line because he was blocking on the play. And he said something like, "White Precious, David's White Precious." And I started laughing. I said, "Ryan, shut the fuck up." Mm-hmm. And the other coach, he blows whistle. He's like, "All right, everybody up." He goes, "O'Neal, are you goofing off?" And he goes, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "All right, take off." And he used to say take off when we had to take a lap. So he goes, "Take off." And he looks at me and he goes, "Miller, are you goofing off, sir?" I said, "No." And I lied. And he goes, "I don't care. Take off." And he goes, "All of you, fuck it. Take off." And we all had to run laps. And every time someone walked behind me, they smacked me on the back of the helmet. Such a goof. I don't know. Was Szymanski still there when you played? That's who I was talking about. That was the take. You remember him, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you remember how he was? He was the one that got me and Ryan in trouble.
Oh.
That was the one who made us all run. Did he do takeoff to you guys too?
No.
But he didn't do that?
We did take off multiple
times. Well, yeah, I'm sure you did take laps. It's football, but he didn't do the takeoff thing. Who were the coaches when you were there?
It's so funny that all line coaches are the same. Mm-hmm. I thought you were talking about my line coach.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Derek.
Oh, okay.
I'm a cool guy.
Tommy got fired halfway through the season because he got drunk and called our coach the N-word over texts. Oh, and then that's what I was told, at least. That was the rumor. Maybe that's not true, but that's what I was told. And then he got brought back because everyone got upset about it. Yeah, it was a whole weird thing.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And then we had, I don't even remember his name because this is the only time I've ever been like, I'm not going to show this coach any respect. It was just like, there was a backup center,
mm-hmm.
and it was the backup center's dad was the coach.
Mm-hmm.
And this backup center sucked. Like, my line sucked and my center sucked, but like this guy sucked. Like, we fumbled multiple snaps because he would I'd have my hand up in his butt and he would just slide it through my legs, at my ankles. And,
Valid.
And then I would get blamed for it. And I was like, by that coach. And I'd be like, just shut your mouth, dude. I don't care.
Fair.
Our head coach was Papa. His name's Papa.
Okay, so you didn't have the same head coach I did.
No.
Gino left then. Okay. Because
Yeah,
Gino I didn't like either.
Really?
No, Gino, there were a couple things he did that I didn't like. And then to me personally, there was a practice where he walked up to me and he was like, "Hey, Miller, I've seen what you've been doing out there. I like it. Keep it up. You're going to get more playing time." And I will say, one compliment I'll get myself. I got better as the season went on, and my playing time only went down. So
Really?
he flat out lied to me. Yeah. Because like Tommy loved me. Like Tommy would hype me up all the time because I was the fat kid that he could kind of take advantage of and do whatever the fuck he wanted with. And like I said, I did get better. I wasn't good, but I got better. I learned. And it was good enough to where I should have gotten a little bit more playing time, but by the end of the season, I was just pretty much out of the lineup. So he lied to me. And then there was one instance where something happened during a game. I can't remember what it was, but Gino thought he was a tough guy and he was going to fight the other head coach. And Anthony had to pull him off of the field. So I wasn't a big fan of that.
Sheesh.
Like, you are coaching middle school football, my guy. Settle the fuck down.
Yeah, chill
You are not
out.
fighting anybody. You're not that guy. And then, like, at the end of the game, he refused to shake the other coach's hand. He was real petty about it. I think the other coach was, like, running his mouth or something. It was something goofy. It wasn't anything extreme. But he really thought he was going to fight the other coach.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked him. And then, did you have Chops? Was Chops still there, or had he moved up to Allegheny at that point?
He's Allegheny.
Chops was cool. I liked Chops.
Yeah.
He knew my dad, or he knew my mom better than my dad, and then he knew my dad a little bit because I think he's my mom's age.
Yeah.
I think he was a good guy. I liked him. But the other and then Matthew's dad was one of the coaches, and he was cool. Now, when you were playing, was one of your coaches a dude who wore cutoffs and a visor and sunglasses and just walked around like he was the shit? I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he was our offensive coordinator.
Cutoffs, a visor, and sunglasses?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he was the coach that got mad at me when I still had the ball in my hands on the sideline. And like he didn't even come over to, he was like standing next to me, just kind of like as a snide remark. He was like, "You got to give the ball back." Like, I don't know. He didn't like that I was happy, it seemed like. Middle school sports were something, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And this tryhard kept playing through high school. He decided he's Troy Bolton. He can't just be a theater kid.
I checked sports, though, because basketball and football were too intense. I had to switch to soccer.
Yeah. I would have played football in high school probably if we would have had a better coach. I would have regretted it. I can tell you right now, like in hindsight, if I would have played, I would have regretted it because I probably would have hurt myself very badly. So I'm glad I didn't play. It was for the best, but I probably would have kept it up if it was a different head coach there.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I wasn't very good. And playing scared, like I was back then, I didn't realize that at the time, but that's how you get hurt. You're better off throwing yourself around. Because if you play scared, you're going to play too conservative. You're going to do some dumb shit and get hurt. So it's better that I had to quit. But I definitely wouldn't have if we had a better coach.
Yeah.
I should have been a fullback. I wouldn't have been able to do it. But I should have been.
You would have been a great football.
I would have been like the fridge out there, except not at all. I would have been like if the fridge didn't know how to use his size. I sucked. I was so bad, dude. I really was. I'm not afraid to admit it. I was awful. There's a reason my only highlight is me accidentally doing the right thing because I got excited and hyped myself up. Like, I was the Nathan Peterman of defensive linemen when I played. That was middle school, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's in the past.
Yeah. All that matters now is I'm the Nathan Peterman of podcasting on YouTube. Do you understand that joke, Andrew?
No, I'm just laughing. God.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I just figured. I figured. That came off very demeaning. I'm sorry. I did not mean that in a negative way.
I meant that to be funny.
Yeah. No, Nathan Peterman's just an awful quarterback. That's all you need to know. He is horrid, and he's currently the Bears' third-string quarterback.
Yeah, I see that on his Google page there.
He threw like 4 interceptions and a half one time. He's really, really bad.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, unless you have anything to add, which I can't imagine you do, we just had to stall for 30 minutes.
Very successful stall.
Very successful stall. I think we're good. Hold on, we gotta come up with a question for the audience. break the fourth wall a little bit. What sport did you play in middle school? That's the question. What sport and position did you play? And if you want, leave a little story. Let us know. Nobody's going to do it, but just do it anyways. Just do it anyways. But other than that, that's going to do it for this episode. Make sure to leave a like down below. These are an hour of our time that we're never going to get back when we record these. So the least you could do is show a little bit of support. And like I said, make sure to comment down below what sport you played in middle school, what your position was, and leave a little story. I'm very curious to hear because everybody's got that one story from middle school sports they love to tell, even though me and Andrew got like 6 each.
Yeah.
And also make sure to subscribe. We're pushing for 250 subs by the start of football season. That's 2 weeks away, and we're like 30 subs away. So I don't think we're going to hit it. But let's try anyways. Let's give her the good old college try, Go for it. But to everyone out there watching, and of course, Andrew, I pointed the right way that time. I hope you all have a wonderful day, night, evening, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope you enjoy it because you're all wonderful people.